Hi, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
And this is Northwest Brew Talk. Welcome to Northwest Brew Talk, the #1 podcast on Washington beer, brought to you by Micro Homebrew, located in Kenmore. This is episode number 82. Each and every week, we promote the Washington brewing industry by talking to those people involved and drinking Washington beer. If you like Washington beer, learn about the people behind it here on our show. This week on the Micro Homebrew interview, we talk with Bainbridge Brewing. We also have our brew news and local music from Unbiblical Chords. With over 300 breweries, we try to highlight as many as possible every episode. If you're new to the show, we suggest you check out our back catalog with some great interviews and tons of Washington beer.
So much Washington beer. So much catalog there. You know, I just love talking to these breweries.
80 shows, 2 beers a show. That's 160 beers right there.
Have we really drank that much beer? I mean, it's hard to believe.
160 beers plus the other ones we've talked about, and 80 interviews. It's a lot of people we've talked to.
You know, it's so amazing to me, and I know we talk about it every episode, it seems like, but the friendliness, the camaraderie with all of these brewers, it's so amazing. I just love it.
Other than a handful, just a couple that you can count on one hand.
I mean, you really on one hand, and with all the people we've talked to, that's like nothing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
I mean, you really can't even acknowledge them. They're not even worth it.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
To think of it, it's such a unique community.
It's very cool.
It's exciting.
It's very cool. We love being part of it.
Yeah.
You know, trying to promote the industry.
Absolutely. If you've got any comments or questions, you can go ahead and send us an email to nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. We love getting those emails from our listeners. If you're on Twitter, find us at nwbrewtalk, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nwbrewtalk. If you like the show, and how could you not, go ahead and give us some support. Share our link. Tell your friends on social media. It takes just a few to start a revolution.
Da, 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 da. A revolution!
So let's start our show as we do every week by opening our first beer. Our first beer this episode is from Northern Ales, located in Kettle Falls. Open Wednesday through Saturday and family friendly. We're drinking their Flume Creek IPA, and unfortunately there was very little that I could find about this beer. I'm excited to try it, but all I can tell you is that it's an IPA. It's got 6.5% ABV, 90 IBUs, and an untapped rating of 3.27.
All right.
Huge head here.
Yes, this beer is pouring with a 3-inch head.
3, that's like 5.
It's like a 3-inch head in our taster glass here, and I've got a 1/4 inch of beer. So we're going to have to wait a moment for this. I don't know why it came out like that, but... Okay, Flume Creek.
You need a little more practice, apparently.
Oh,
all those beers we've tried so far.
You know, I've done that. And while we're waiting for that, we did finally open a couple bottles of the IPA that we brewed a couple weeks ago. We were telling you about, and
it's
it's
good.
not bad at all.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not. It's definitely not the greatest IPA I've tried.
No,
but
no, it's not the best. It's not the best I've tried at all.
It's my own work too.
But it's pretty good, and we need some stuff in between trying all these great Washington beers. So
yes, we need to cleanse the palate with our own IPA.
That'll cleanse it. All right. All right. This beer is a golden color, and it still has a huge head, but we've got a little bit here. It's
a little cloudy.
It's a nice foamy head too.
Yeah, it's nice citrus aroma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Grapefruit. I'm smelling.
Grapefruit. You know, could be grapefruit.
Wow, that has a lot more malty flavor than I was expecting. Am I crazy? You don't agree?
I'm not sure. I've only got head left, so. It's. I've tasted something like this one before. I'm not sure what it is. I can't pinpoint the exact flavor. We by far are not experts, and
no, and we've talked about it before. We aren't really reviewing the beer. I mean, we're just kind of giving our own.
Yeah, we're giving our own opinion, telling you about different breweries. That's really the gist of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it with like the Untapped ratings. We don't want to say, if we don't like the beer, we don't want you to not go out and try it. We're just kind of trying to showcase all these breweries around the area. And
exactly.
Yeah,
this is...
wow. That's good. You get the hoppy aftertaste.
I'm not catching that at all.
You're not catching it at all.
No, let me pour a little bit more. Maybe I've got too much.
I don't think you got enough. Well,
beer?
Then you didn't pour it properly.
Come on. It never does that. I pour like...
It's got a big head. Look in the bottle.
I pour like an inch of beer every week, and I get, little
now,
head.
I've had far less experience at beer pouring, and I do a far better job. Let me pour it.
Okay, let's see. This is going to be different. Okay. Usually I don't have to tip the glass, though.
No, usually you don't. But when you see that there's that much head to it, you need to go that extra mile.
Yeah, there's some beer flavor there.
I taste a lot of maltiness, which was surprising to me. And the aftertaste is more of the hoppiness and definitely a good citrus flavor or good citrus aroma.
Yeah, definitely has that, and it is... It is, a little bit bitter on the end there. Yeah, definitely tasting that in the palate here.
Yeah, it's definitely a different IPA.
That's because it's made from Flume Creek water, apparently.
I don't know that hopheads would necessarily be thrilled with it because it's not real, hoppy.
Right.
But it's definitely hoppy. It's not hoppy.
Yeah. All right. Not too bad.
I like it.
All right. And now, on to this week's Brew News.
Topping this week's news, the 5th annual Bellingham Beer Week is ongoing, ending September 18th. Piketoberfest takes place Saturday, October 1st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., the 21 and over event that benefits Pike Place Market Foundation. Beer on the Pier takes place in Anacortes, October 7th and 8th. This adults-only event will have 30 breweries and 10 cideries, as well as food and live music. Tickets are $25 or $45 for both days. The 3rd annual Prosser Beer and Whiskey Festival takes place October 8th at the Prosser Wine and Food Park. The 21 and over event features live music, food, rib cook-off, specialty vendors, a VIP cigar lounge, and much more. Tickets for the event are $15 for general admission, $50 for a VIP pass, and $75 for an all-access pass.
It's that time of year, and September 23rd to 25th is the Fremont Oktoberfest, hailed as one of the top 10 places in the world to celebrate Oktoberfest with food, beer, and several other events to keep you busy, including a 5K and a street scramble. Friday and Saturday are 21 and older, while Sunday is all ages. This event has various ticket options, so visit strangertickets.com. Saturday, September 24th, is the 18th annual Fish Brewing Oktoberfest in Olympia. They will have food, special beer releases, and live music. You get a commemorative mug and 3 pours for your $20 admission. North Bank Beer Week is taking place across Southwest Washington, September 22nd through the 30th. Events across the area at 27 breweries and other venues. Check North Bank Beer Week for all the details.
The Mountain Ale Festival takes place October 8th in Roslyn at the Yard. The event is 21 and older and features over 15 breweries, food, lawn games, and live music. It's $25 per person and gets you 5 beer script and a souvenir tasting glass. On Friday, September 16th, Sumerian Brewing in Woodinville will begin distribution with Odom Distribution Company. In addition, they'll begin canning in January 2017 and are currently looking into purchasing a canning machine. Great news for them. Congratulations. This past Saturday was the 20th anniversary party at Silver City Brewery in Bremerton. They had over 20 different beers, including Uberfest, an Imperial Oktoberfest lager brewed with heirloom German malts and whole leaf hops. Congratulations to them. Almost legal now.
Yes.
The Inland Northwest Craft Beer Festival takes place September 23rd and 24th in Spokane. With 38 breweries pouring more than 100 beers, the event will be held at Avista Stadium and features live music, great food, and baseball-themed fun. The Saturday, September 24th session is family-friendly. Pacific Brewing and Malting in Tacoma will host their second anniversary party on September 24th. It's all ages, and they have beer specials, foods, and giveaways.
All right. We missed the recent first anniversary of Farmstrong Brewing in Mount Vernon.
A year already.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Congrats to them.
Congratulations.
Go Brewing in Bellevue will be celebrating their third anniversary on October 15th with a big party. There will be one-off and barrel-aged beers, food from Bread and Circuses, which will be providing food offerings at their Bellevue and their new Auburn location in the coming months, and a cigar tent. Ashtown Brewing in Longview is celebrating their third anniversary block party on September 17th. It runs from 1 p.m. until midnight, and kids are welcome until 6 p.m. They'll have live music, a cornhole tournament, food cart, photo booth, and, of course, there's going to be beer.
Of course.
Tickets are $25 advance, $30 at the door, and $20 for Mug Club members. There are several Fresh Hop festivals taking place. The Fresh Hop Ale Festival takes place October 1st in the heart of Hop Country, Yakima. This takes place at the end of Fresh Hop Beer Week in Yakima, which runs September 27th through October 2nd. The Seattle Fresh Hops Festival takes place October 7th and 8th at Hal's Palladium with just-released fresh hop beers from over 25 breweries, which all benefits the City Fruit non-profit. And that, my friends, is this week's Brew News.
Welcome back to Northwest Brew Talk. If you want to submit news to Northwest Brew Talk, send us an email to nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. If you've not yet subscribed to our podcast, why not do it now? It's free, available everywhere you listen to podcasts, including iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Google Play Music.
All right, on this week's Micro Homebrew interview, we're talking with Russell from Bainbridge Brewing. We're here with Russell from Bainbridge Brewing. How's it going today?
Going great.
Awesome.
Having a great time.
Awesome. We've got 3 medals. So what did you win today?
Yeah, so our Grapefruit IPA, Windfall, took a silver medal. Our Arrow Point Amber took a gold in alt beers. And for the 4th year in a row, our Bainbridge Blonde has won a medal. And so it was a gold for Belgian Blondes again this year.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about Bainbridge? When did you guys open?
Yeah, so we just celebrated our 4th anniversary last weekend. The brewery started in 2012. It's a father-son operation. I'm the brewmaster, and my father is my business partner and sort of the management guy, if you will. It's just a small family business, kind of run for the fun of it.
Right. So, how did you get started? Were you a home brewer?
In 2001, my then girlfriend, now wife of 11 years, made a terrible mistake and bought my college roommate and I a Mr. Beer kit. We were actually like under 21 at the time, and they wouldn't sell it to us. But she was 21, and so we made terrible beer in our little basement apartment.
Did you drink it though?
Grudgingly, yes. You can't not drink it, right? But my roommate gave up on brewing, but about a year later, I was like, what if I got some actual better equipment and know-how? And that beer came out great. And so I just started home brewing, and then eventually got a job as an assistant brewer at a brew pub. And then I quit all that and became a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
And then I opened a brewery, like you do.
Yeah. It's funny. There's a few lawyers that are brewers.
Yeah, we've talked about forming some sort of support group or something like that. Like there are a few reformed lawyers in the brewing community right now.
So, is brewing, although it's a little more manual labor, is it more enjoyable than the law?
I love the law, don't get me wrong. And my focus was alcoholic beverage law. So I'm kind of our brewery's in-house counsel.
There you go.
But it's, you go up to someone, you're like, hey, I'm Russell, I'm a lawyer. And they're like, hey, I'm Russell, I'm a brewmaster. Like, hey, let's hang out.
Kind of like Matt from Fremont. He was in alcohol.
Yep.
Alcoholic law, too.
Yeah, we have joked about, like, we need to form a group.
Nice. So how long after you were home brewing did you get into, like, doing, whole grain?
I ran extract for several years, and you can make perfectly good beers with extract.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of important. People focus on the ingredients, and it's the techniques that matter more, I think. So once you learn how to sanitize things, how to control the ferment, how to keep temperatures right, and how to brew a clean beer with extract, then you can worry about all grain, because then you got a whole other bucket of worms to worry about with temperatures and ratios and pHs. But I think probably 3-4 years before I switched over to doing all grain. And yeah, there's a lot of great things about it. So I love doing all grain. But
yeah. So when you were brewing, what did you like to brew?
When I was homebrewing?
Yes.
So I brewed just beer from my house and my friends, right? So it's stuff that people wanted to drink, and I like to brew weird stuff too. So I have a little brown ale recipe it was my house beer. It's not super sexy, but it's I brewed at 3.7% alcohol. Got a lot of chocolate and caramel and kind of that stuff going on, a little British mild sort of thing. And that was the house beer because I could have 8 of them and wake up fine. And it was lovely, and it tasted interesting. And that eventually became our Port Blakely Brown.
Nice.
And then a sort of son of that beer is coming on later this year as our a seasonal session porter we're going to make.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I like to make meads. I like to make Belgians and sours and experimental stuff. I like to do weird stuff.
So is that what you do now still? Or you
not on the big scale? Well, because when you start making 5 gallons, it's like I'm going to make whatever I want. Because worst case scenario, I have to dump 5 gallons down the drain. It's a little different when it's 300 gallons. Yeah. So I got to think about whether people would actually buy it. Right. So I still like to use our pilot system to crank out weird stuff.
Okay.
Or pull a portion off a main batch and mess with it.
Okay.
So it's harder to sell 300 gallons of chili beer than it is to sell 5 gallons of chili beer.
Yeah. So when you're brewing, do you like to brew to style, or does it depend on what type of beer you're working on?
It really depends. Certain things I think are really classic for a reason. There's been hundreds of years of evolution to make it what it is. So, for example, we make a commuter Kolsch, or German style Kolsch. It's as classic as I can make it. I mean, it's imported German malt, it's proper Kolsch yeast, proper fermentation temperatures and all that. Because I think that beer is pretty good right where it is.
Okay.
But other stuff like the Arrow Point Amber we just won the gold for this year. I mess with that beer all the time, and it has evolved constantly over 4 years. Because in America, we have a sense of what a German alt tastes like, but we also have American ambers, and you're going to do a lot of conflict where people expect an American amber to taste like Alaskan amber or like Mac and Jacks or something like that. And you hit them with an alt beer that's really traditional, and it kind of throws them for a loop.
Right.
But I think there's a sort of hybrid in between where it's actually you get sort of the best of both worlds. So that's kind of where we mess with that beer is kind of taking the things I like most out of an alt and the things I like most out of an American amber, and kind of trying to find a happy hybrid of that.
Okay. So you do, depending on what it is, the ones in our style you try to do original. But that's cool. So what is the brewery's best-selling beer?
Right now, it's so we distribute. We have 2 distributors, and it's funny to see the tap room and the distribution world are totally different.
Really?
So our Eagle Harbor IPA dominates our tap room and dominates our local area. But recently, about 5 months ago, we released a beer we call Windfall Grapefruit IPA, and it's a grapefruit IPA that came about due to a series of unfortunate events. Let's just say power surges and glycol chillers don't work. And making the best of a bad situation, ended up with this amazing beer that it won a silver this year, and it's about a third of all the beer that we sell to our distributors because it's just taking Seattle and Tacoma by storm. It's all over the place.
Wow. And that was not something you anticipated?
No, it's totally a happy accident.
Yeah.
We had a batch of double IPA we couldn't release because the glycol chiller got fried by a power surge. And but it still tasted fine. It just didn't taste like the double IPA. So we sort of were like, we'll release it as this grapefruit beer. And immediately everyone's like, I want more. And it was supposed to be a one-off, and we've made a ton of it in the last 6 months.
So how do you repeat that mistake then?
Yeah, exactly, right. So we took it's kind of again, the best of both worlds. Like we don't ferment that beer at 85 degrees, for example, which the first batch was done at because of the glycol chiller. We ferment it much cooler, and sort of keeping the theme, but refining the technique has really paid off on that beer. And we lowered the alcohol from 8 to 6 because it was getting people silly. Because it goes down like soda. It was lovely.
Yeah. Nice. So, do you guys carry especially at the tap room, you carry a full range of beers?
Yeah, so the tap room's got 12 beers on tap at all times. Usually between 9 to 11 of those are ours. I like to have guest taps, but we have a few rules. Like guest taps have to be from Washington, and they have to be from either someone in our distribution, or I prefer like just people who self-distribute. I like to give all the little breweries that self-distribute, and buddies of mine that own breweries in Ballard or around town or in Paulsbo or wherever. We're happy to rotate everyone through. I like to get the variety and get the exposure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have 7 year-round beers now because the windfalls become year-round. So we typically have a main seasonal that'll last about 3 months, and then we have rotating monthly seasonals where I'll release a beer just for like 1 month. We'll make one batch of it, and those change depending on the season and depending on what we feel like brewing. So those are the times we get to play.
Okay, nice. So you've got all these different beers. How many do you actually? I know you bottle. How many do you distribute bottle?
Yeah. So we right now we bottle the Commuter Kolsch and the Eagle Harbor IPA, and we're looking at getting Windfall into bottles as soon as we can. And then we do special bottlings. We just ran a bottling run of our 4th anniversary ale. It was chaos. The machine had some hiccups on Wednesday, and Friday was the anniversary party, and we got to back out to do it Friday morning, and we were standing in the back of the brewery frantically waxing bottles before we opened because we wax dipped them, but we got 1,000 of them wax dipped that afternoon. But yeah, so we'll bottle stuff like that. Like last year we bottled the 3rd anniversary, which was a whiskey barrel aged Doppelbock, and this year it's a barrel aged chocolate imperial stout.
Nice. So, do you do a lot of barrel?
We do have a lot of barrels. I like to joke that they're like tribbles and they breed in the closets at night, and I come out and there's more of them. So yeah, we've got about 20 different barrels in the tap room, kind of rolling at any given time. We're next door to Bainbridge Organic Distillers, so we get some of their whiskey barrels sometimes.
Okay, nice.
And we play with those, and then I've got there's wineries on the island and other sources, so we have a lot of barrels going. There are a lot of sour projects that have been going for two or more years, so we're just waiting for those to come good.
Oh yeah.
I've got
keep tasting it.
I've got a really good one coming out later this year. As soon as we can get the logistics of blending 11 different barrels and then bottling it and not contaminating the entire brewery.
Nice.
Once we get that figured out, it's going to be a lovely release.
Nice. So I know you guys last year, I think it was, you guys had you renamed, rebranded, did a bunch of that.
Yeah, so coming up on our 3rd anniversary, we started off as Bainbridge Island Brewing. As we started to distribute further afield, we found that like a lot of people didn't know where Bainbridge Island was, and it was sort of like losing the cachet of the place to people who were far away. So we simplified it down to Bainbridge Brewing because we found we were just answering the phone, Bainbridge Brewing anyway. So we were like, let's just simplify that, and we went with a new logo that's a lot simpler. It was literally impossible to embroider our old logo. We found that it was hard to print and it was hard to embroider, and from a distance it looked like a blotch. So the new logo is much more distinctive and much more recognizable.
Nice. So, do you personally, as a brewer, do you see that metals are important for the brewery or for ego, or I mean, how?
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like that's actually a really interesting question, right? Because I think all brewers at least have a little bit of ego because we want, what makes you start a brewery, right? Like I want to prove I can make something amazing, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's people that take it really, really seriously, and they get like angry when they don't win. And there's so many good breweries making so many good beers, and there's the competition is so fierce. There was 83 beers in the IPA category this year.
Yeah.
Just in Washington, so 83 Washington IPAs.
Yeah.
So I have to take a step back sometimes and kind of tell myself to take a little bit of a zen. Like, so for example, like we don't enter a lot of the main multinational competitions. Like we don't enter the Great American Beer Festival. It's kind of like if the chances of winning. I mean, like when I sort of ran a little bit of an analysis, right? And if there's 300 IPAs entered. then 3 medals are being awarded. So you have a 1 in 100 of even medaling, and it's $175 to enter. And it's like, what do I get if I win versus I just pour $175 down the drain. So we have a fund that I kind of mentally keep of all the competitions we don't enter. We take like that amount of money and put it in a little separate mental fund to buy like something to make our beer better.
Oh, there you go.
So like I took all the money we saved from not entering a lot of competitions and like bought a better carbonation tester, or we buy like some new clamps or whatever we need, like things like that. So that's kind of my sort of exception to this is the Washington Beer Awards. I really like this one because it's only Washington. So, I mean, if you win a GABF medal, it's like, great. Like, I've got a bronze against some brewery in Vermont and some brewery in the Czech Republic. And you're like, okay, well, I want to try those beers, right, to see how they beat me, right? But it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to Vermont, and I'm definitely not going to the Czech Republic. So, it's sort of a hollow victory in a sense. Whereas here, it's like, if I win they go bronze, silver, and I'm like, come on, and I win a gold, like I can go like, yeah, in your face, to like the 2 guys who also won, who are probably my friends, and like we all high five at the end, right? Like and then I can go try their beers and they can try mine, and we can see.
Yeah, very cool.
So I like that aspect of like local, focused competition, because I mean, in our market, right? Like Washington doesn't export a lot of beer, right? Like so if I win a GABF medal, and some liquor store in Connecticut calls me up. They're like, hey, I want to get a bottle of that. And I'll be like, well, no.
Yeah.
So what does that medal won me?
Yeah, exactly. It's a good point.
Whereas around here, it's, I can go like, hey, like Washington drinkers and Washington taps, like Washington bar owners. This beer won a Washington Beer Award.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that has a bigger utility to me. I mean, it feels nice to win a major, international type medal, but what does it actually get me at the end of the day other than an ego boost? I don't know much. Like,
Yeah, definitely a good way to look at it that way, especially saving up that money that you'd spend.
It can get expensive. I mean, I know brewers out there that enter every competition. There's also a lot of like fly-by-night competitions. Like as the craft brewing's gotten bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I get ads for like, hey, enter your beers to this competition, and then this and like I've never heard of that competition in years of this business.
Oh yeah.
And you just get that all the time, and then it sort of becomes everybody gets a medal day.
Oh yeah.
And so you see a lot of people who are like bragging about winning some prestigious award from a competition I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the public cares one way or another about that. Like when a brewer wins a GABF medal, all the brewers kind of pat them on the back. Like we respect that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if an average member of the public knows the difference between a Great American Beer Festival award and the U.S. Beer, extravaganza championships.com.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so, the prestige, I think, doesn't translate to those outside of, like, the experts in the field, sort of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, we don't enter a whole lot of competitions, actually.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, so it still feels good, obviously, to win those things.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But, what happens when you get that bronze? Do you want to go see what the other ones were?
Yeah, totally. I want to see why you. That's. I totally want to see why they beat me. And sometimes you just have to you try it and you go, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But also, it's a little subjective. You got judges, so I mean, it could have been just a different judge or something like that too.
Well, I mean, take the JBF example for IPAs again, right?
Yeah.
If there's 400 IPAs, do you really think like the 3 that medaled are the 3 best IPAs out of those 400?
Yeah.
Like categorically?
Yeah.
Like, no, they're probably quite lovely. But, it's like whenever someone says, this is the best beer in the world. It's like, really? Like, really? Can you even declare that? So it's a lot, a few years ago, we took a beer in the Puget Sound Pro-Am. It's a homebrew professional competition. So we went down and tasted all the entries, and not all of them, there was hundreds of them, but I picked a few styles I thought might complement the things we were brewing and things I wanted to brew. And so I got to try the first place winner, second place, third place, fourth place, down in this. And so I wanted to brew an Oktoberfest lager, and I tried for second and third. And I wasn't really wowed by any of them. And then I tried the fourth place one, and I was like, this is lovely. This one should have won.
Oh, yeah.
We're brewing this one. So the guy didn't even win a medal, but I selected him to come and brew with me because I thought it was the best of all of them, right?
Nice.
So, I mean, and any competition's like that. Just because it won a medal doesn't mean it's the best, but it's nice, but it's not the determining, final arbiter.
Yeah, nice. So, what's the future hold?
Future, yeah. So, well, everyone's asking that right now.
Well, now that you have so many medals, I mean, it's...
Yeah, we just dropped in some new tanks about a month ago, so we got a little more capacity, and we're working on getting a new filter. Should be arriving next week, and I'm super excited. A bigger, better filter will be lovely. We outgrew ours about a year ago, and we just never got around to getting a better one. So, yeah, just do a little more distribution. We signed another distributor for Clallam and Jefferson counties a few months ago, so we're up around Sequim and Port Angeles now.
Okay, cool.
All the way out to the coast. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So is Bainbridge's goal to go outside of Washington? I mean,
I've sent beer to Japan, and I've sent beer to Canada. But it's not like a big thing we do.
Right.
It's like the opportunity comes along, I'll send some beer to Japan. So we'll see. I think I don't need to take over the world. Like, I don't need to be the next Red Hook. That was not my plan from the start. It's not my plan now. So I think we'll hit a good level where we're making a reasonable amount of beer and making a reasonable amount of money, and just kind of hold there and call it good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot easier in this industry. It's easy to make more beer and less money. So you got to find that happy, it's like getting a boat up on plane. You get it once the boat's cruising, you're good.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, Russell, thanks very much for joining us today.
Sure.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me out.
Thanks to Russell from Bainbridge Brewing for joining us today.
If you are a home brewer looking for a great shop to buy your homebrew ingredients and equipment, why don't you check out Micro Homebrew in Kenmore? Tony and his staff are always happy to help a new or experienced homebrewer find what they need. At Micro Homebrew, they're proud to carry over 100 hop varieties. Visit them today at 17511 68th Avenue Northeast in Kenmore, or find them on Facebook at Micro Homebrew. When you stop in, make sure you tell them that you heard about them on Northwest Brew Talk.
We'll be right back after a local music break from Unbiblical Chords.
That was Department of Health from Unbiblical Chords. You can check them out at unbiblicalchords.bandcamp.com. If you want to have your music played on Northwest Brew Talk, make sure you contact us today.
Hi, I'm Mike Rizzo, author of Washington Beer, A Heady History of Evergreen State Brewing. The history of brewing in Washington dates back to when the area was just a territory. My new book, Washington Beer, tries to cover everything from the 19th century to modern days. American Craft Beer said, quote, author Michael F. Rizzo does the considerable legwork for us in Washington Beer, unquote. Through dozens of photos and detailed notes, the history slowly evolves. WA List said, quote, Michael Rizzo takes the name a Washington Beer game to a whole other level, unquote. From Prohibition to the modern craft beer movement, over 300 brewery histories are explored. One of craft beer's pioneers, Mari Kemper from Chuckanup Brewery, said, quote, he's done a noble job of trying to reconstruct the industry's history from oral stories and bits and pieces of written documentation. A great read for anyone interested in finding out how the beer industry developed in Washington State, unquote. From Arcadia Publishing, the book features a 16-page color insert and costs $21.99. You can pick up a copy at your local bookstore, online, in ebook format, or directly from me, autographed. Get your copy today.
Our next beer is from Triplehorn Brewing. They're located in Woodinville. We're drinking their Landwink IPA. Dry hopped on lots of whole cone Simcoe, this India Pale Ale yields subtle pine, floral, and in-your-face citrus notes. This is their flagship ale. 6.6% ABV, 58 IBUs, and an untapped rating of 3.73.
Okay, you see, I can pour beer. The other one, just for whatever reason, gets extremely foamy. This one smells really good, too.
Hey, it's just a different beer. This is a little darker color.
Yeah, slightly darker.
And much more clear.
Yeah, it's clear. It has a bitterness to it. Smells really good.
Definitely smells like one of our... How you'd expect an IPA to smell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. The flavor is so different.
Yes, it is.
Very piney.
You know what? I have a problem because I can never taste pine. I don't know what the heck I'm looking for when I'm tasting pine. I guess I haven't.
That's a problem. I think it's just, everybody's tongue is different.
I cannot. We have trees right outside. I should just go out and
lick some trees, Mike. Go lick
some
trees.
And see if I can taste pine. Because obviously I'm missing what pine tastes like. I know what pine smells like, so I should be able to taste it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's tongue is different, and just.
Maybe that's what
apparently
I'm tasting.
I spent a lot of my childhood licking trees.
Apparently
well, I did grow up in Western Washington. I should know what pine...
Yeah, what pine tastes like?
Yes. Every child has tasted pine.
Yeah, I think most people...
Who grows up here.
Yes, that has bitterness to it, but it's not a real strong one. The other one had a stronger, bitter aftertaste.
Yeah, definitely.
This one is not as strong, but it's a little more citrusy, grapefruity or something when you're drinking it.
I want you to get me fresh beer. You serious? Now!
So every week we find a beer that's just been released. We do our search online and try and find something that's brand new to the market. And we let our listeners know where the freshest beer is. We try to pick one from different areas, but our main goal is to find a beer to spotlight so our listeners can get out and check it out while it's at its freshest. This week's Spotlight Indie Beer release is from Cairn Brewing, Kenmore's newest brewery. They just released their first seasonal beer, an amber Mexican lager called Grito. They just released it on September 7th. Grito honors the Declaration of Mexican War of Independence by Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla. The Grito was known as the Cry of Dolores and was exclaimed near the small town of Dolores on September 16th, 1810. Exciting stuff. According to co-owner and brewer Bill Boyd, quote, Grito is our first seasonal and commemorates Mexican independence. Grito is a lighter-bodied beer that is crisp and refreshing as we round out the summer, unquote. This initial seasonal features Northern Brewer hops coming in at 30 IBUs, 5% ABV. It became available at Cairn Brewing starting opening on September 7th. So get out there and try it. As we said, 5% ABV, 30 IBUs, no untapped reading yet, but things were looking positive when I checked it out today.
Awesome. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of this episode of Northwest Brew Talk.
Make sure that you tune in next week when we chat with Justice Brewing.
Thanks to our sponsor, Micro Homebrew. The show is written and produced by Michelle Rizzo and myself.
If you'd like to contact us, feel free to email us at nwbrewtalk@gmail.com or go ahead and find us on Twitter at nwbrewtalk. Our theme music is from Gilbert Neal. Make sure you check him out at gilbertneal.com.
Definitely go check out his YouTube videos, too. All right, until next time, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
Stay hoppy, my friends. There will be one-off barrel-aged bears.
Bears?
Barrel-aged bears. Thanks very much to Russell from... Thanks very much for Russell from... Thanks very much for... Oh, my God.